All right. Hi, Virgo. Welcome to your mid-October reading. I'm going to look at your past energies and your present energies to see how things are unfolding for the next 2 weeks. Okay. I'm laughing because the first card that comes up is your card. Um, hmm. Features coming up. Okay. All right, so your first card, which represents the present energy, is the Hermit. And this is the the card for Virgo. So you're standing in your own power. You already know your own truths. You already are working with your own energies. You're at home with yourself right now. The energy that's coming up with the next 2 weeks, I'd actually say a little bit faster because it's the Six of Swords, and that is a fast moving card of journeys. Like you're moving away from something or from someone. It could be because you've got some crow friends here. I don't think they are. I don't actually know if they are your friends. These could be a bad circle that you were once involved in, a job that you no longer feel that aligns with you anymore, some friends or family members that you might have had to cut off. um you're recovering. You're Because this person is resting on the swan. The energy that I'm getting from the next 2 weeks is that you're sorry, I think I'm having a bit of a cold right now, which is weird because I've been fine for the last couple of readings. Maybe you're recovering from an illness or from a flu, from a cold, from COVID. I don't know what you're recovering from, but you're recovering from it and you're moving away from people who maybe they got you sick. Excuse me. Um, but you're recovering from something that caused a lot of stress at some point because the Swords is usually a strife card. And the best action to take, kind of supports what I'm saying, is the Nine of Swords. So you're moving quick away from people. You're looking at bigger opportunities, more opportunities. You may be even moving, relocating, or you are cutting people off. I'm seeing him like kind of stroke his sword a bit. So maybe you're looking forward to leaving things behind because they caused you so many problems, and you're finally like, you know what, I'm done. I've observed you long enough to see your flaws and how they don't support me. Because sometimes you understand that people are not perfect and you're not expecting perfection, but at the same time, you are expecting people to be their best selves. And if you don't see that and they don't align with your standards or expectations, like they're not putting in the same effort that you are, then you're like, you know what, I think this is where it needs to end and I'm good to go. It could be that, especially if it's coming from a health point of view, that maybe you no longer want to speak to the doctor that you were saying and that you want to speak to someone else. I'm not sure why health is coming across so strongly. Like that's a first for me. Um, but maybe because Virgo is usually associated with health sometimes, or work habits, or something that you're leaving behind to pursue uh, bigger opportunities, and maybe that communication can come across a bit more harshly or aggressive because people aren't expecting it. But that is your best action to take, is to If you need to cut ties, cut ties. If you need to communicate because they have not been listening to you for the last 10 times and you're just so done with it, maybe they need to have that wake up call, that really rude wake up call. You know what I mean? That distant energy is the Ace of Wands. So that's actually pretty nice energy to have in the past there. So maybe you were pursuing a romantic relationship that once, really made you feel alive, but I don't know. Looking at the next card, I'm like, maybe it didn't work out too well. It could have been a romance. It could have been a creative project. It could have been some sort of something that made you feel more alive than you have been in a couple of years. Um, it could have been a romance. It could have been a passion project. It could have been something creative. But the reason why I say this is because recently you felt the energy of the Five of Cups, which is regret. It's grief, it's loss, you had to lose a lot. You almost had to hit rock bottom, and you kind of, I don't know why I'm missing someone that's coming across here. Or you're looking at something and you miss it. Maybe a hint of nostalgia. I'm not sure because you see, you've got the Three Cups here. They're floating around, which is things that you had to let go and didn't have a choice but to let it go. But she's also holding on to this last cup with the goldfish in it, and she's kind of looking at it longingly. So maybe you're feeling regret about having to let go of something or someone, or perhaps you're holding on to something that you should no longer hold on to because it's toxic to you. Quite literally, maybe this is also, since I'm going with a health message here, maybe this is also substance abuse. That's the first that's come across to me. But oof, it's what's hitting me right now. Yeah, I hope you feel better if it's something that's actually happening right now that you feel sick. Um, letting that go, grief. I know. I feel like I've had this conversation before, where it's harder to grieve the people who are still alive but choose to no longer be part of your life than someone who's actually died. So it could be a loss of someone who is walking away from you or you're walking away from them. It also could be a walking away from your own self. Like if you had to let yourself go in order to heal and to move on. A part of you had to die in order for you to move on. Does that make sense? Um, Kind of like an ego death, but not really, because I don't see an ego here per se. It's more like part of you had to let go and it hurt um, because you can no longer have it. So maybe you're still grieving that process. You have the Queen of Pentacles in the next 2 weeks as well. So accompany this with the earlier Six of Swords. Um, the Queen of Pentacles is usually someone who practices a lot of self-love and self-care. It's feminine energy here as well, so a lot of, like motherhood. You're moving away into this energy of like kind of like self-isolation, because you need to take care of you first. You feel like you're coming from a place of lack right now. Um, so you need to focus on healing that. I'm sorry if you're feeling that way, Virgo, because that can hurt a lot if you don't feel worthy. You know what I mean? Like you don't feel like the queen or the leader of your own life. Because if we're going with the message of death of ego or death of letting parts of yourself go because you can no longer hold on to that, maybe right now you're kind of feeling like you're lacking something then. Which goes along with your attitude here because, sorry, this actually came up reversed with the Magician reversed here. You feel like your current attitude is more like it's coming from a place of lack. You feel like you don't have enough skills, you don't have enough talent, you don't know enough yet, and you're being your own inner critic. You know, it's really loud. You're being too harsh on yourself for these next 2 weeks. So just be mindful of that, you know, be mindful of judging yourself too harshly, and looking at how you talk to yourself. Your environment shows the Hierophant reversed. So there might be a lot of unconventional or non-traditional dedications right now or commitments. So maybe you're in a position like a job per se that has a contract that isn't exactly stable. You don't like the way that it's going right now. Or maybe you do actually enjoy it. It really depends on how you feel about this non-traditional position. If it's a non-traditional relationship or if it's a non-traditional job, either because you can either love or hate it, right? There's pros and cons to everything. So that is what your environment is showing me right now, is that you're currently in a non-conventional relationship with something. That relationship could be with a job, with a person, with your family. And that may cause you stress, especially if you were looking for more stability, especially if you're coming from a mindset that you're not enough. You want the Ten of Cups, which is stability. It's a home environment that's comforting and supportive, and that's what you're hoping for. But the end of October shows the Knight of Swords, so you're coming to a close with October feeling incredibly stressed. A lot of anxiety, a lot of nightmares. I want to see if you can do something that would help with that. So hang on just a second. I'm going to pull out a different deck to see what would improve October then if you've got a bunch of anxiety. So 2 cards flip out here. New Horizons and Singularity. So New Horizons, if you can see that. Old ways won't open new doors. So I would look at new methods, new ways to open up new opportunities. If you're feeling stuck and you're anxious and you want to get out of this mentality of like inner turmoil, look at different ways you can approach your problem. Especially since you are already moving away from a situation where you needed to grieve and heal from, and then realize that singularity, you are your own sun, moon, and stars. You're worthy as it is, you know. You're loved as it is. You are amazing as you are, and I hope you learn to self-value, you know, love yourself, because that really should come first. So I hope this helps you, and thank you for watching, and take care, okay?